Hey guys, so today I'm bringing you another commentary. This time it's going to be a little bit different because it's mainly going to be focusing on a question that I get asked all the time, and that question is, how do I win solo queue? How do I take the early advantage that I have and turn that into a win? So this game, I pretty much snowball the game by myself. I make a lot of the calls in this game, and I wanted to explain my thought process and the reasoning behind it. Obviously I will talk about Diana as well as a champion, but let me just press play now. And we'll get started. So the first thing I want to say is runes I run very standard: magic pen reds, mana regen yellows, magic resist blues, and AP Quints. So you could also run movement speed Quints, but she doesn't really need it in my opinion because she's got so much mobility with her ult. Now I'm against an Ahri this game, and Ahri does pretty well against any melee mid champion because she's got so much harass with her Q. Now, obviously, the main thing that I have to do is just dodge that Q, survive until 6, and then I should be able to control the lane. So I'm just going to actually speed this up because my main point, as I said, is just going to be on how to snowball this game. So I'll talk about that very quickly, and there are probably 3 ways I think you can snowball games very effectively. The first one is going to be global gold, and I'm going to separate that out. So taking towers. Now, towers are really important. Not only do they give you a load of map control, but they also give you a ton of gold. 150 gold per person adds up quite a lot in the total gold that you can see at the top of the screen. The second way is going to be taking objectives like Dragon and Baron, and the third will be just outright out farming and out killing your lane opponents. The third is probably the easiest to do, but also the easiest to still lose the game with. So what I mean by that is, players can come back from leads of CS and kills because they don't really give you that much of an advantage. But with global objectives, it gives your whole team an advantage. So as a team, you snowball, and it's much easier to transition that into a win. So as you can see, Ahri's kind of basic attacking me, which is a really good thing against Diana. Basic attacks are underrated in mid lane, but she has to be careful that she does actually draw minion aggro with the basic attacks. So while she did put a lot of press onto me, she has also actually burnt a potion, and I've just used a flask charge. So I've got 3 of them for free. So actually, even though I did miss out on a bit of CS, I'm now 3 ahead, and we can catch up. Now I'm going to slow this down because this is a really good play where I blow her flash. So if you saw, she ran up to stop Lee Sin invading, but she ran past her tower towards and got sandwiched because I went behind her. So I saw her reacting, and instead of just following her through the left side brush, I just went behind her, knew that she was going to get sandwiched, and she had to flash to survive. So I've told Lee, obviously, he knows she's got no flash, and he's going to try and come back and we'll try and get a kill. So at the moment I'm just zoning her out a little bit because she's burnt all of her pots, and now she's just got her boots. So any harass that is on someone with no pots is going to stick. So Lee's coming back here now, and we're going to try and pick a kill. So I'm going to slow this down again. You see that the Q misses, but I'm going to E her on the tip of the range, basic attack, and I'm going to just throw the Q, and we get a kill. So Diana's damage is ridiculous early. She is really strong at the moment, borderline overpowered I would argue as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to push this to tower, and then I'm going to go back and buy. So it's a really good idea that when you kill someone or someone's out of lane, that you get the wave to the tower, and then you just go back. So as you can see, she's on 9 CS right now, and I'm on 22. So that's a huge advantage. She's losing out on a ton of experience. She's just hit level 4, and I'm halfway to level 6, which is a really big difference at this level. So it means I'm going to hit 6 first, and the only way to really beat Diana in lane is to beat her before she hits 6. Once she hits 6, she becomes a bit of a monster, and you can't really do anything. You can't duel her because she does so much damage. You can't really farm either passively because she has a massive gap closer in her ultimate. So I'm just going to wait for 6, and that's when I'm going to try and make some plays on Diana. Now I'm just going to farm out. I'm going to make sure that my Q hits the wave to equalize it out in the middle, but I'm going to make sure that it hits her at the same time. So as you can see, I've hit 6 now, and I'm going to slow this down because I think I've skipped quite a lot of the early lane phase, but after 6 is where good Diana players are separated from okay Diana players. What I mean by that is a good Diana player will start to snowball her advantage because she's so powerful at level 6. It's an absolutely huge power spike. I mean, if you look at her ultimate, it does 136 damage, and she can cast that twice. So that's like almost 300 damage. Obviously there's magic pen in there, but that's almost 300 damage. Probably about 200 after magic resist. So we can see Rumble's here. If you didn't see, it was on the ward on the race there. So I pinged Lee to get back because I don't want to fight a Rumble, a 2-0 Rumble as well, and an Inari. I'm just going to stay back because I don't know where Rumble is, and I can't see him on the top ward either. So it means that he's probably still hanging about, and Ari's got her charm. So I see her going aggressive, and I'm just going to run back to my tower. Unfortunately, I do eat the charm, but when Rumble ultimates, I'm just going to run to the left. He's going to run to tower, which is dumb. I'm going to ultimate and then use my E instantly to make sure that he gets another tower shot on top of what he's already taken. And then I'm going to use my Q just to finish him off. So most Dianas will, or the best way to combo obviously, is going to be Q into your R, because your R or your ultimate doesn't, like, it resets if you use your Q. But at that time it was just better for me to get the ultimate onto Rumble and then keep him in tower range with that E, and it meant that I got double buffs, and we've managed to kill Ari again because she's still got no flash. She should have ultimate there, I'm not sure why she didn't. It was a little bit silly, but as you can see, we're just going to push the tower, and now I pinged onto blue because that's just spawned, so Lee Sin's gone there, but I can see the bot lane is actually fighting, so I'm just going to go down there quickly. Apparently not. Okay, so you can see that we've just had a big fight here. Sona's now quite low, and so instead of going for the blue buff, which I could have picked up, I'm just going to go for the kill on Sona. I'm not going to use my ultimate in case she flashes, because I didn't know whether that flashed or not. For some reason my key bindings aren't working, so it's unfortunate. But I didn't use my ultimate there onto Sona, because if she flashed I would have needed to use my ultimate to kill her. So I'm just going to back now, and you see after that, like, very standard kind of play, I'm now 4-0. So obviously Lee Sin did gank for me first of all, so that kind of started it. But then that kill on Rumble was just turning around a bad mistake made by another player. It's kind of standard, especially where most of my viewers are going to be playing around the gold, platinum, silver elos. Everyone's going to make mistakes, even I make a lot of mistakes, and it's just capitalising on those mistakes which snowball games. So obviously Rumble got too cocky, he's given me a double buff, which was very silly, and he's given me a huge advantage over Ari already. So I'm just going to clear my wave and then go and pick up the blue buff, because I didn't want to lose the minions and Lee Sin can wait. Now you see Ari's actually gone top. She's gone to dive. I'm not going to go up there because if you look at Shen's health on the taskbar, he's already pretty dead. So I'm just going to go to mid and I'm going to push the wave. So the second thing to note is that when you're roaming as a mid laner, you always want to push your wave and then you want to roam. If you don't push your wave, then one, the enemy laner isn't losing any experience or creeps, so it doesn't hurt them at all for them not being in lane. And also the enemy laner will just get to push to your turret and you'll end up losing minions. So I'm going to go for Ari here, but actually Volibear's stuck in the bush. Now by this time Shen is respawned. I'm just going to Q and R and ultimate to negate Volley's passive. And I'm going to leave Ari here, so I could chase if I wanted to, but there's absolutely no need. I know those two can handle it, and instead, now it looks like I'm going for Rumble, but I'm actually taking the wave. So you see here, I'm just going to group up, get my W onto all of them, going to Q to make sure that they all clear. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to start snowballing the game. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this turret, because I've proxied that wave there and I've taken that out. It means that this wave can get to the turret and then the next one can get to the turret, and there are no minions for our minions to be distracted by, so all the damage goes onto the turret, and it means that we're going to pick up this turret very quickly. So you see in the quick succession I'm now 4-0-1. I didn't pick up any kills in this exchange, but I did roam up once I pushed, and now we've got a tower because I proxied that wave, and we're kind of pushing the advantage now. We got an extra 1,000 gold advantage because of that. So I see Volibear, but if you look at my wave, this is what I meant about making sure you don't roam before you push the wave. So you see there, I missed literally like nothing. I maybe missed like 5 creeps or something for that roam. But because I pushed it to tower, the tower was killing my minions, which meant my minions weren't killing their minions, which means most of them were still alive when I got back to lane. And I've just got a huge CS advantage now. I'm 89 to 35, which is absolutely huge. So you see, I could be killing Ari. She's only level 7, I'm level 10, which is a huge advantage. But I don't really need to be any stronger right now. I don't need to put Ari behind because she's already really far behind. So instead, I'm going to roam. I'm going to look bottom because I know that I'm so strong, and the bot is probably the easiest target for me to kill. So I'm going to go in here, and I actually missed my Q, I believe, yep. So I missed my Q now. I could just ultimate onto Vayne to kill her, but I don't think I need to because Shen's already down here. So instead, I'm going to go for Sona. I get tower aggro, so I immediately flash out, and I'm just going to Q onto Ari. I R her to negate her ultimate damage because he loses vision, and then I'm just going to pop my W, use my R again, because I hit my Q, it reset, and then I'm going to R to volley bear and get another kill. So you see, because I roamed down there at the right time, I also pinged Shen to come, because if you look at his lane, we took the tower, and Rumble was freezing. So I told Shen to come down for the dragon, and it ended up that he came down for a gank, and then we're going to do dragon. Lee Sin also picked up mid lane because I roamed instead, so Lee Sin didn't need to gank because Shen and me were already down there, which meant that we got another tower. And all of a sudden, 12 minutes or 30 minutes into the game, we have all 3 outer turrets, and we have a massive, massive gold lead. So, excuse me. So that means that I've now got about, 8,000 gold lead by 12 minutes, with 30 minutes, which is absolutely huge. So I've gone back and I bought a Zhonya's now, and I've also picked up a blasting wand. Now I could have got Sork's boots here, but instead I wanted the extra AP. I just wanted more damage to keep Snowball in this game. Now items are another thing to discuss when you're snowballing. So the first back after I picked up a needlessly large rod. Now there are a couple of things. So if you look at their team, like I could have picked up a Seeker's Arm Guard because I'm going to build Russia's Zhonya's, but instead I went for the pure AP. So I could have got Seekers, and I could have also got like Sork boots. Now that gives me more survivability, it gives me more armor pen. As you see, I'm just going to roam here again. I'm going to probably pick up this kill. Yep. So all I'm doing now is I'm pushing my lane and I'm roaming to the sides. They can't do anything because I'm so strong that even if I turn up and volley bear's there, even if Ari follows as well, we can probably 3v4 because I'm so strong, and I'm just abusing that. I'm not sitting back and I'm not waiting for the enemy team to farm up and get back in the game. I'm just making sure that I punish them extremely hard. And as you see, I'm just going to push the wave again, and I'm going to look to roam. So top lane I can see Lee Sin's already there, so I don't need to go. So I'm just going to push again, keep pushing, and then I'm going to see where I can go. So there's not really many options at the moment, so I'm probably just going to make sure that we get the kill top, but my blue buff has spawned. But anyway, as I was saying, so the needlessly large rod, when it's early, is like a huge, huge advantage. So I'm sure you've all played games where the enemy AD carry has got an infinity edge really like early into the lane phase and just absolutely wrecks because he's so far ahead and he has so much damage. It's pretty much the same deal with a needlessly large rod. It gives you a huge amount of damage, and no matter what the enemy builds, even if they're behind and they build a Negatron, you're still going to be able to do an absolute ton of damage. So if you're ahead, it's always better to build damage rather than survivability early, because then you can snowball your advantage. As you see, again, I'm going to look to roam. Now I can see Ari on this ward at blue buff, and so I'm just going to cut her off. Now I'm going to instantly Q and W to get my damage, and then I'm just going to R again and put my ignite on. I get an auto attack with the ultimate. So when you're ultimating, a little trick is to always like attack move once you've done your ultimate. So it sounds a little bit silly, and you can also just right click if you wanted to, but it's much more efficient with a attack move. So like I use the character A for my attack move. So once I've pressed R and I'm on the actual champion that I've ultimated to, I'll then press A and click, and I'll attack the enemy champion as well. So it's just a little bit more damage. It doesn't not always necessary, obviously. The basic attack doesn't do too much damage, but it's just a little trick to do even more damage. So as you can see now, because we ganked bottom, and I know Sona's blown her ult, and when I killed Ari, she blew her ult, so I know that basically the two big ultimates of the people here aren't available, so we can still push our advantage because they've got nothing to kill us with. So we're just going to keep pushing. Leona's going to go in here, and unfortunately I get a little bit caught, so Volibear's going to flip me. I'm going to try and dash to Vayne for a little bit distance. I didn't hit my Q, which is a big thing there, so that was pretty much my mistake. If I'd hit the Q, I probably would have gone for the kill on Vayne, but instead I just immediately Zhonya'd and flashed out because I've got nothing left. Now, just something to note, so if we have a look down at the scores, no one's particularly far ahead. So obviously Vayne picked up 2 kills in that exchange bot lane, so she now has a pretty good score. But you can see that Shen actually has 44 CS, Vayne has 103 to Vayne's 80, so that's like a 20 CS lead, which isn't an absolute ton. But I am, let's have a look, 80 CS ahead, which is an absolutely huge margin. I almost have 3 times the amount of CS that Ari does. And if you look at the scores, we're now 12,000 gold ahead. Now, if you look, so they look pretty standard, but we flick to the gold score. Shen's actually 1,000 gold ahead of Rumble, even though he's 40 CS behind. That gives you the kind of idea of why I'm saying global objectives are so important. We've taken every Drake, we now have 5 towers, and that means that not only have we I've won my lane, but I've made sure every other lane has won. Even if they aren't very good individually, they've still managed to come out the lane phase ahead of their lane partner. So MF obviously was playing pretty well as well. I don't want to take it away from her, but she is 2,500 gold ahead now, which a 30 CS lead or 20, it's now 10 CS lead shouldn't given her. She should be maybe 1,000 gold ahead at very most, but because we took so many global objectives, she's now in a position to carry the game rather than just go pretty even in team fights and make it close. So we're just going to obviously take inhibitors as much as possible, and we can probably end the game right now. We're just going to have probably one last team fight if they are going to try and defend their Nexus turret. So here comes the Rumble Ultimate. I'm going to slow this down very quickly to show you how to team fight on Dyna. So I'm actually going to pause it right here. So let me go back actually, and I'm going to do it a little bit quicker from before that, sorry. So I'm just going to speed this up. When the ultimate comes down, I'm going to pause it. So here we go. So I'm just going to pause it here. I'm going to slow it down. So you can see this ultimate is blocking off everyone from their team. So if I want to get to their team, I have to go over the Rumble ultimate. Now I kind of have a dash, so that's not too much of a problem, but it's a problem for the rest of my team. Like, no one can follow up if the Rumble ultimate is in their path, because they're going to be slowed, they're going to take a ton of damage. And since Rumble's ultimate changed, the more you stand in it, the more damage it does. It doesn't do as much of a nuke now when it lands, but it does more damage over time. So I'm just going to wait for the enemy team to position out of that ultimate. Now hopefully they're going to go towards this inhibitor at the side. So I press play and I'm just going to show you. So I'm literally, look, I'm just running away. Even though I'm 9-0, I have a Zhonya's, I'm way far ahead of everyone on their team. I'm still going to play this smartly because I don't want to throw the advantage. So you see now, they're all kind of grouping up, and I'm expecting a Leona ultimate to come out here, but they're also to the right of the ultimate, of Rumble's ultimate, and they're not, that Rumble ultimate is about to time out. So here comes the Leona ultimate, as I said, and I'm just going to kill Rumble. He's the easiest target. Now if you look there, Vayne was invisible, so I can't target Vayne. She's also popped a barrier before she went invisible, so there's no point me hanging around and not attacking anyone while I wait for Vayne to pop out of stealth. I know that she's only got a Blade of the Ruined King, which isn't going to shred through my Zhonya's, and it's not going to kill me, so there's no immediate threat. I don't have to kill her right this second, otherwise we lose the fight. So instead I'm just going to take out the easiest target possible, and that is going to be Rumble. So I'm going to press play again, and once I get this kill, I'm then going to turn onto Vayne. So I'm going to Q and I'm going to R onto Vayne, I think here. Maybe I just even Q. And at this point, so we just look now, there's 3 of them retreating. Now at this point, what I'm trying to do, when you're at this stage of the game, is just trying to get in a position where you can end the game. Now I know Ari's going to have used her charm in the fight previously, because if she doesn't use her charm, obviously, I mean, she could have not used it, but she'd be a really bad player because her charm is a key part of her kit. So I'm assuming that 99% of Ari players would have used their charm during the fight, and since she's on such a long cooldown, it's not going to be able to stop me and catch me under tower right now. So out of these 3 players, the easiest target and the most important target to kill is probably going to be Volibear. If I kill Volibear, we can probably end the game, so I'm going to go straight for him. Now I've got an ultimate cooldown, and I'm literally just going to go for the ultimate. I don't need to kill the other two to end the game, so I'm going to ultimate straight to her, and then I do get hit by the charm unfortunately, but as soon as it's over, I'm going to Q for damage, and since I've got no cooldowns, I'm going to Zhonya's. This is a really important part of playing mid lane. I had tower aggro, and every mid laner is basically cooldown dependent, so if you don't have any cooldowns, you're pretty useless, and it's one of the reasons why Zhonya's is such a good item. So you can proc that Zhonya's, and while you're invulnerable, your cooldowns obviously recharge, and you come out of invulnerability and you can turn on everyone and start killing them with your cooldowns again. So obviously I use my Q for the cooldown, as I said, and then pop the Zhonya's and wait for my kit to come up. But unfortunately, Ari died before I could do anything, so I didn't get my quadra kill. But as this is a little bit of a different game, so hopefully you still learn something from it. I don't normally like featuring stomps, but I feel like this was a very good example of how to carry a game pretty much by yourself and snowball an advantage. Obviously my team did play well, and I'm not going to take that away from them, but as you can see, like, Shen is still behind in CS on Rumble, but I still managed to snowball the global objectives, and that's pretty much how you win the solo queue. So I hope you found this useful, and you learnt a little bit about Diana as well. If you'd like to leave the feedback below in the comments, and I will obviously try and respond to everything I can and take everything on board. If you don't want to see these kind of games, you don't think you really learned from it, then that's fair enough. Just let me know, and I am planning to release a AD commentary in the next couple of days as well, so watch out for that.